In the year 4529, the Milky Way galaxy was full of life. Hundreds of alien civilizations shared trade, culture, and technology under the great banner of the Galactic Alliance. Humans were among them, known for their creativity, bravery, and strange curiosity that often led them into forbidden places. Commander Alara Voss of the exploration ship Horizon's Dawn was one of those humans who could never ignore a mystery. Her brown eyes always carried a glimmer of questions, and her mind was never at peace until she found an answer. For years she had traveled across the stars, mapping uncharted sectors and studying the ruins of forgotten worlds. One day, her ship received a strange signal from a region called Sector Zero, a place surrounded by fear and silence. No ship had ever returned from there. The area was filled with electromagnetic storms and black voids that swallowed light itself. But the signal was clear, a repeating tone, rhythmic and structured, almost like a message. Alara stared at the monitor in her command deck. "Replay it," she ordered softly. The tone echoed again. 3 beats, a pause, then 5. Dr. Hain, her robotic historian, turned his glowing eyes toward her. "Commander, the pattern is mathematical. It might be artificial." Kirok, the reptilian engineer, hissed nervously. "Sector Zero is cursed, Commander. Even the VAR scouts never come back." Alara smiled faintly. "Then it's time someone did." Her crew exchanged uneasy glances. The human commander had that same fearless look again, the one that had led them into countless adventures before. "Prepare the jump drive," Alara said. "Set course for Sector Zero." As the ship entered the dark region, all stars around them vanished. The usual bright trails of light during hyperspace travel faded into a dull, endless black. The only illumination came from the ship's internal lights and the quiet hum of its core. Talon, the avian navigator with silver feathers, clicked his beak. "No readings. No planets, no light. It's like the galaxy ends here." "Stay calm," Alara replied. "We're explorers, not tourists." Hours passed as they drifted deeper into the void. Then suddenly a faint blip appeared on their radar. A planet. It was small, surrounded by debris and dust. But it was there, the source of the signal. "Bring us in," Alara said. The ship descended through thick clouds of ash until they landed on a vast desert plain. The air shimmered with strange energy. In the distance, giant stone structures rose from the sand, towers, walls, and broken domes, all covered in strange carvings. Alara stepped out first, her boots pressing into the soft, dusty ground. The air was thin but breathable. She looked around in awe. "These ruins are ancient," Dr. Hain said, "older than the Alliance, older than any recorded civilization." Kirok scanned the symbols on a nearby wall. His eyes widened. "Commander, look at this pattern. It looks like human writing." Alara approached and brushed her hand across the stone. The symbols were rough, faded, but familiar. Some looked like old Earth letters. "How could this be?" she whispered. They explored deeper into the ruins. The halls were vast, carved from black stone and lined with glowing crystals that still pulsed faintly, even after countless ages. In the center of the ruins, they found a massive chamber with a circular floor. In its middle stood a tall structure, like an obelisk, humming softly with blue light. Dr. Hain analyzed it. "Energy field stable. It's still active." Alara moved closer. "Can we open it?" "Maybe," the robot said. "But we should be careful." "Careful," Alara repeated with a smile. "You've known me long enough to know that's not my way." She touched the obelisk. The light around it brightened instantly, spreading across the floor like a wave. The entire chamber came alive. A soft voice echoed through the air, gentle and distant like it came from across time. "To those who seek, to those who remember." The first flame still burns, the crew froze. The voice was speaking in an old Earth language, English. Talon's feathers ruffled. "That's human speech. Ancient human speech." Alara's heart raced. "Play it again." The obelisk repeated the words, then projected a holographic map. Dozens of glowing points filled the air, stars connected by lines forming patterns across the galaxy. In the center of the map was a familiar blue-white star. "Sol," Alara said quietly. "That's our sun." The map began to shift, revealing other symbols, not words, but images. Human figures in robes holding strange devices, standing before alien beings. Then came a great firestorm, tearing through the stars, and finally, darkness, The last image was a single line of text. You were the first. The room fell silent. Kirok spoke first, his voice trembling. Commander, is it saying humans came before all others? Ilara stared at the message, her mind spinning. It can't be. The Alliance history says humans evolved on Earth just a few thousand years ago. History can lie, Dr. Hayne replied, or be forgotten. Ilara looked at the holographic map again. The thought was impossible, yet the evidence glowed right before her. If this was true, it meant humanity was not the youngest species in the galaxy, but the oldest. The first, her communicator buzzed suddenly. Talon checked his screen. Commander, we're not alone. There's movement in orbit, small ships, cloaked signatures. Can you identify them? Ilara asked, Talon's eyes narrowed. Var Dominion scouts. They must have followed our signal. Ilara clenched her fists. They can't find this place. If the Dominion learns what we discovered, they'll bury it forever. What do we do? Kirok asked. Ilara took a deep breath. We take what we can and we leave. The crew worked quickly, downloading every holographic file and scanning the ruins for more data. As they did, Ilara kept glancing at the obelisk. The phrase, "You were the first," kept echoing in her mind. When they finally lifted off, the planet below them looked peaceful, ancient and quiet, as if waiting for someone to remember it. But deep down, Ilara knew this was just the beginning. The Var ships began to close in. The horizon's dawn sped away through the void, engines burning bright. Inside, the crew gathered around the central table, staring at the fragments of history they had just recovered. Talon whispered, "If this is true, it will change everything." Ilara nodded. It already has. She looked at the holographic projection again, the image of the ancient humans standing before alien species, guiding them, teaching them before vanishing into legend. For the first time in her life, Ilara felt something greater than curiosity. She felt destiny. "We're going to find out who they were," she said softly. "We'll learn why they disappeared, and why they left this message for us." Kirok tilted his head. "And what if the truth is too big for the Alliance to accept?" Ilara smiled, her eyes shining with determination. "Then we'll remind them what it means to be human." The stars outside the viewport stretched as the ship entered hyperspace once more, heading back toward known space. But none of them noticed the faint light still glowing from the planet's surface. Deep within the ruins, the obelisk pulsed again. A hidden chamber opened beneath it, revealing thousands of metal capsules, silent, waiting. A voice whispered through the dark halls, echoing the same words that had haunted Ilara's mind. "You were the first." The horizon's dawn glided silently through the deep void of space, its engines humming low as the stars returned to view. The crew sat in silence, their minds still trapped in the wonder of what they had just witnessed. Commander Ilara Voss stood by the main window, her eyes fixed on the swirling patterns of distant galaxies. She had seen many mysteries in her career, abandoned planets, extinct species, forgotten relics, but nothing like this. The message still echoed in her thoughts. You were the first. Behind her, the robotic historian Dr. Hayne worked tirelessly at the console. Blue lights flickered across his metallic frame as he analyzed the data they had collected from the ruins. The structure's energy signature predates known galactic history by at least 1 million years, he said in his calm, digital voice. If this analysis is correct, Commander, that means human civilization existed long before any other known species. The reptilian engineer Kirok hissed softly. That's impossible. Every record says the ancient Tavar, the first known race, were already old when humanity first reached the stars. Ilara turned toward him. Maybe the records were written by those who didn't want the truth known. Kirok looked uneasy. You think someone erased history? Ilara folded her arms. Maybe, or maybe time simply buried it. Talon, the avian navigator, ruffled his feathers. Either way, if this is true, every government in the Alliance will want control of it. Secrets like this can start wars, Ilara nodded slowly. That's why we'll go straight to the Galactic Council. They need to see this before anyone else finds out. But even as she said it, doubt grew in her heart. The Council was not known for transparency. It was full of politics, pride, and power struggles between the different species. Would they protect the truth, or bury it forever? Still, she had no choice. The discovery was too important to hide. The return to the Council days later, The horizon's dawn entered the glittering orbit of DEATHWORLD, the capital of the Galactic Alliance. The planet was a glowing jewel, blue oceans, silver towers, and floating cities that sparkled under twin suns. As they descended, hundreds of ships filled the skies, traders, diplomats, patrols. The crew looked out the windows in silence. Even after years of travel, DEATHWORLD always looked overwhelming. In the Great Council Hall, Ilara stood before the High Assembly, a circle of representatives from dozens of alien worlds. Floating drones projected her recordings onto the walls, the ruins, the obelisk, the holographic map, and finally, the words, "You were the first." When the presentation ended, silence filled the hall. The counselor of the Zir, a tall insectoid being with crystal eyes, leaned forward. "Commander Voss, are you suggesting that humans are the origin of all intelligent life?" Ilara kept her tone calm. "I'm not suggesting, Counselor. I'm showing evidence. The ruins, the energy readings, the language, and it all points to one truth. Humans were here before anyone else." A murmur spread through the chamber. Some representatives whispered to each other. Others looked angry or afraid. The council head, High Chancellor Orion, spoke finally. "Commander, these are extraordinary claims. The data may be misinterpreted. You will surrender all findings to the Science Directorate for verification." Ilara frowned. "With respect, Chancellor, we should investigate it together, not lock it away." Orion's tone hardened. This discovery could destabilize the Alliance. Many species would not accept the idea of humanity being first. Until further notice, your findings are classified. You and your crew are not to speak of them. The words struck like a hammer. Ilara wanted to protest, but she saw the warning in the Chancellor's eyes. This was not a request, it was an order. "Understood," she said finally. The quiet betrayal that night, Ilara returned to her ship. The city lights of DEATHWORLD glowed outside her window, but her thoughts were dark. Kirok entered quietly. "The council didn't believe you, did they?" "They believed me," Ilara said. "That's the problem. They're afraid of the truth." Dr. Hayne approached. "Commander, I analyzed the transmission logs. Someone accessed our files while we were in the council hall." Ilara turned sharply. "Who?" "Unknown," the robot said. "But the data was copied. The files about the obelisk, the map, everything." Talon entered the room, feathers flaring. "Vardominion?" Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Maybe. Or someone in the council itself." Before she could think further, an alert blared across the ship. "Incoming transmission." Ilara accepted it. A hologram flickered to life. An elderly alien with gray-blue skin and long horns. Forin, the scholar of ancient myths, one of the few non-humans Ilara trusted. "Commander Voss," he said softly, "I heard what happened today. You have found something far greater than anyone realizes." "You believe me?" Ilara asked. Forin nodded. "There are legends among my people. Stories of the first flame, the beings who spread life across the stars. I always thought they were myths." "But your discovery proves otherwise." Ilara leaned closer. "Do you know where the other ruins might be?" Vorin's eyes glowed faintly. "Yes, the myths speak of 5 pillars, 5 worlds where the first flame left their mark. One of them is your homeworld." Ilara froze. "Earth?" "Yes," Vorin said. "Beneath its surface lies something ancient, something hidden even from your own governments. The Council will not help you find it. If you want the truth, you must seek it yourself." The transmission ended before Ilara could reply. Kirok hissed. "We're going back to Earth, aren't we?" Ilara nodded slowly. "Yes, the answer started there. That's where we'll finish them." The journey to Earth leaving DEATHWORLD was not easy. The Council placed tracking beacons on all ships that left the capital. But Ilara was ready. With Kirok's help, they disabled their beacon mid-flight and disappeared into the outer lanes. For weeks, they traveled in silence. Space stretched endlessly before them, a dark ocean filled with distant light. During the long journey, the crew studied more of the data. Dr. Hayne discovered something hidden in the holographic message, faint coordinates layered beneath the map. They matched Earth's position exactly. It was no coincidence. Talon looked over the readings. "It's under the southern polar region." "Deep underground," Ilara nodded. "Antarctica." "We'll land there," Kirok hissed softly. "Commander, if the Vardominion already copied our data, they might be on their way too." "Then we'll have to be faster," Ilara said firmly. Dark signs as the ship approached Earth. The crew felt a strange mix of pride and unease. The planet looked peaceful from orbit, blue oceans, green lands, and white clouds. Humanity had built great cities on its surface, but this time they were not coming home for celebration. They were coming for the past. When they entered the atmosphere, the sensors picked up faint signals near Antarctica. Artificial energy patterns, exactly like those in Sector 0. Dr. Hayne confirmed it. The readings are identical. The same frequency, the same rhythm. Prepare landing, Alara ordered. But before they could descend, the radar flashed red. Several ships appeared on the edge of the atmosphere. Sleek, dark, and armed. Talon's feathers rose. Var Dominion. They're here. Kirok's claws tapped the console. They must have followed the copied data. Alara's voice was calm, but her eyes burned with determination. Then they'll have to follow us to the truth. Descent into secrets. The horizon's dawn dove through the thick white clouds, shaking under icy winds. The frozen wasteland below stretched endlessly, mountains of ice and hidden valleys. They landed near a deep crater covered in snow. At its center, scanners detected a faint energy pulse. The crew stepped out into the freezing cold, lights glowing on their suits. The wind howled around them as they walked through the ice. After hours of searching, they found it, a massive metallic door half buried under the glacier. It was covered in markings identical to those in Sector 0. Alara brushed the frost from the surface. Her hand trembled slightly. This is it. Dr. Hayne studied the mechanism. It responds to human DNA, he said. It was meant for your kind. Alara placed her palm on the door. A warm light spread beneath her hand. The ice cracked and the giant door began to open, revealing a tunnel descending deep into the earth. Cold air rushed out, but it was not lifeless. It carried a faint hum like a heartbeat beneath the planet's surface. Kirok whispered, "What is this place?" Alara stared into the glowing tunnel. "The beginning," she said softly, "and maybe the end." The crew switched on their lights and stepped inside. The door closed behind them, sealing out the frozen world above. As they disappeared into the ancient passage, a shadow moved in the sky. The dark ships of the Var Dominion, descending slowly toward the same spot. The race for the galaxy's greatest secret had begun. The tunnel under Antarctica was long and cold, stretching into the darkness like a frozen river of steel. Commander Alara Voss led the way, her flashlight cutting through the misty air. Behind her followed Kirok, Talon, and Dr. Hayne, each step echoing softly through the vast, silent corridor. As they moved deeper, the walls began to glow faintly. Lines of blue light traced ancient symbols, the same human-like patterns they had seen in Sector 0. The air grew warmer, and a faint vibration pulsed beneath their boots, as if the planet itself was alive. Dr. Hayne scanned the walls. These markings, they're not just decorative. They're data streams, technology integrated into the structure itself. Talon tilted his head, feathers shimmering in the dim light. So humans built all this? Millions of years ago? Alara ran her hand along the smooth metal. If the ruins on that dead planet were proof, then yes. Somehow humans were here before history even began. Kirok hissed softly. But why hide it? Why bury it under your own homeworld? Ilara's voice was calm but heavy. Maybe they didn't hide it. Maybe they were trying to protect it. The group continued downward until they reached a massive circular gate. The center was made of black crystal, engraved with a single human symbol, the same ancient word for origin. Dr. Hayne approached carefully. There's a power field behind it, old but still active. It's connected to something very large below. Can you open it? Alara asked. Not safely, the robot replied, but I can weaken the locks. As Hayne worked, Alara felt a strange pull inside her mind. The faint humming around them seemed to grow louder, matching her heartbeat. For a brief moment she thought she heard whispers, not from her crew but from the walls themselves. You have returned. Alara blinked and looked around. The others seemed unaware. She kept silent, afraid they would think it was her imagination. Moments later, the gate began to tremble. The black crystal split down the center, revealing a shaft filled with glowing mist. A bridge of light extended forward, leading into a chamber so vast that it seemed endless. Stay close, Alara said quietly. The chamber of sleep, The light revealed rows upon rows of towering pillars, stretching into the darkness. As they stepped closer, they realized the pillars were not simple machines. They were stasis pods, each containing a human figure inside. Kirok's eyes widened. By the stars. There are thousands of them. Dr. Haynes' sensors glowed brighter. Correction, millions. All human. Their biological structure matches yours, Commander, but their genetic code is far older. Ilara stared in silence. Inside the pods, the humans looked peaceful. Men and women of all kinds frozen in time. Some wore armor with strange symbols. Others wore simple robes. Each pod carried the same emblem, a circle of light surrounded by 5 stars. The same symbol from the ruins. Talon whispered. They must have been part of the first civilization. Dr. Hayne adjusted his scanners. Their bodies show no decay. These pods have preserved them perfectly for over 1 million years. Kirok shivered, his scales reflecting the dim light. Why would they sleep here? What were they waiting for? Ilara looked at the endless rows and felt both wonder and sorrow. Maybe they were waiting for us. A warning from the past. At the center of the chamber stood a massive pedestal. A faint light blinked on it as if sensing their presence. Ilara approached slowly. When she touched the surface, the air shimmered, and a holographic figure appeared above it. It was a human woman, dressed in silver robes, her eyes calm and bright. She spoke in ancient English, her voice soft but clear. To whoever finds this message, we are the first. We spread life among the stars when the universe was young, but we learned that creation and destruction are always linked. The crew listened silently as the image continued. We faced a great disaster and a war not of weapons but of pride. The stars burned and worlds fell silent. To save what remained, we placed our people in sleep beneath our home. When the time is right, humanity will awaken again and the galaxy will remember who lit the first flame. The image flickered and faded. Talon whispered. So the legends were true. Humans were the first creators. Ilara's eyes remained fixed on the empty air, and someone didn't want us to remember. The hunters arrived before they could speak further. The ship's comlink crackled with static. Commander, came a voice. The Horizon's Dawn's onboard AI. Unidentified ships detected above the atmosphere. Multiple VAR Dominion vessels are descending. Ilara's heart sank. They found us, Kirok hissed. We must seal the entrance. No, Ilara said quickly. If we lock it, they'll destroy the site. We need to finish what we came for. The ground suddenly shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere above, explosions echoed through the tunnels. Talon spread his wings. They're bombing the surface. Dr. Hayne tapped into the pedestal's controls. Commander, there's something else. The power core of this place is activating. I believe. It's responding to you. To me? Ilara asked, confused. Yes, Hayne said. The system is reading your DNA. You're triggering the awakening sequence. A deep hum filled the air. The stasis pods began to glow one by one as the ancient machines slowly came to life. Ilara looked around in awe. They're waking up. The first awakening one of the pods opened with a sharp hiss. A bright light spilled out, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. When it faded, a man stepped forward. Tall, strong, with eyes that glowed faintly blue. His voice was calm and deep. Who calls the children of the first? He asked, looking directly at Ilara. Ilara stepped forward carefully. My name is Commander Ilara Voss. We found your message. The ruins, the obelisk. We didn't know what it meant until now. The man nodded slowly. You came from the surface. From the world we once called home. Then the cycle has turned. Dr. Hayne analyzed him silently. Commander, his cellular structure is stable. He has been asleep for over 1 million years. The ancient human looked around, taking in the chamber, then turned back to Ilara. You are our descendants. We are the first of your kind. We built the stars, and now you must save them. Before Ilara could ask what he meant, the ground shook again, harder this time. The ceiling cracked. Talon shouted, The VAR forces are breaking through. The ancient human's expression darkened. Then the shadows have followed us into a new age. He turned toward one of the glowing consoles and pressed his hand against it. A surge of blue light shot through the walls, sealing several tunnels. That will slow them down, but they will not stop. Ilara looked at him urgently. Who are you? He hesitated, then said, My name is Aaron. I was a guardian of the Genesis core, the heart of creation. It lies deeper beneath us, and the VAR seek it for themselves. Race against time. The crew followed Aaron through another passage, deeper into the earth. The tunnels glowed brighter now, alive with power. Strange machines hummed along the walls, ancient technology beyond modern understanding. Kirok whispered, "This place could power 1,000 worlds." Aaron glanced back. It was meant to protect life, not rule it. The Genesis core contains the energy that once shaped the stars. If the VAR reach it, they could rewrite existence itself. Ilara felt a chill. Then we can't let that happen. As they approached the final gate, Dr. Hain detected movement on the scanners. Multiple heat signatures. The VAR troops are closing in. Aaron's eyes glowed faintly. Then we fight. Ilara turned to her team. Get back to the ship and warn the Alliance. I'll stay with Aaron. Kirok shook his head. No, Commander. We stay together. Ilara wanted to argue, but there was no time. The sounds of metal footsteps echoed from the tunnels behind them. The VAR soldiers were here. The ancient lights brightened as Aaron raised his hand. They will not take what is ours. A wave of blue energy burst from the walls, sealing the chamber and cutting off the enemy's advance. The room filled with a deep, powerful hum, as if the planet itself was waking from a long dream. Aaron turned to Ilara, his expression calm but urgent. The truth is bigger than any of us, Commander. What sleeps beneath this world must remain safe. The future depends on it. Ilara nodded, her heart pounding. Then we'll protect it, together. The secret below. As the VAR forces regrouped outside, the last gate opened before them. Inside lay a massive sphere of light, suspended above a pit of darkness. Streams of energy flowed around it like rivers of stars. The Genesis core, Aaron said quietly. The heart of all creation. Ilara stepped closer, the glow reflecting in her eyes. It was beautiful and terrifying at once. Dr. Hain whispered, Commander, this energy field could reshape matter itself. This is beyond science. Ilara looked at Aaron. And they want to control it. Yes, Aaron said, but we cannot let them. The galaxy forgot who created the first light. Now it remembers. Outside, the tunnels shook again as explosions echoed through the deep earth. The battle for humanity's forgotten legacy had begun, and for the first time, Ilara realized this wasn't just about history anymore. It was about the future of every living being in the galaxy, and she would not let it fall into darkness. The cavern beneath Antarctica glowed with a pale blue light. Streams of energy from the Genesis core curved and twisted through the chamber like living rivers, casting strange reflections across the frozen walls. Commander Ilara Voss and her crew followed Aaron. The first human awakened as he led them closer to the core. The air vibrated with power. Even the ship's sensors could barely comprehend the energy surrounding them. Dr. Hain scanned constantly, taking careful readings, his metallic voice calm but edged with awe. Commander, he said, the Genesis core is beyond any known technology. Its energy signature predates even the oldest known stars. It is the source of creation itself. Ilara swallowed hard, her eyes fixed on the glowing sphere ahead. Then the legends were true, she whispered. Humanity didn't just evolve here, we shaped the galaxy. Aaron nodded. We were the first. We were tasked with spreading life, seeding civilizations across planets, teaching balance and harmony. But pride and fear led to our downfall. Many of our colonies fell into conflict, and the galaxy forgot our origins. Kirok hissed softly. And now the VAR Dominion wants it for themselves? Yes, Aaron replied. They seek the core to rewrite the flow of life. They would use it not to protect creation, but to control it, to remake the galaxy in their image. Ilara clenched her fists. Then we stopped them, no matter what. The awakening of the past, the Genesis core pulsed brighter, sensing the presence of humans. Aaron approached it, laying his hand on the glowing surface. His eyes shone faintly blue and energy rippled through the chamber. The stasis pods around them began to hum. One by one, humans inside them stirred, awakening from their long sleep. Each one rose gracefully, their eyes filled with a mixture of curiosity and ancient wisdom. Dr. Hain observed silently. Commander, this is a controlled awakening. The core responds to human DNA. Only those of the original line can trigger it. Ilara stepped forward. So, we were meant to find this place? Aaron looked at her with a calm intensity. You were always meant to return. The core waits for those who seek not power but protection. The newly awakened humans stepped forward, speaking in voices that echoed with authority and warmth. They carried symbols and tools of ancient design, strange devices that seemed to manipulate the core's energy effortlessly. Ilara's heart raced. These were her ancestors, not just blood relatives, but the first humans, the creators of the galaxy. A lesson in creation, Orion led the group to a raised platform near the core. The sphere of energy pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. "Watch closely," he said. "This is the power that shaped stars and planets. Life began through energy like this, guided by intelligence and care. It is not to be wielded for domination, only for balance." Ilara studied the core, feeling its hum in her bones. "Balance," she whispered. "That's why the first humans hid themselves. To keep the galaxy safe." "Yes," Aaron said. "We learned long ago that the more powerful a civilization becomes, the greater the responsibility. If used selfishly, even the smallest spark can destroy entire worlds." Kirok's claws tapped nervously on the floor. "And the VAR. They have no sense of balance. They only see control," Aaron said. "And now they have discovered the truth. That is why they are coming." The chamber shook as distant explosions echoed through the ice above. The VAR Dominion was arriving in full force. The VAR assault. The crew rushed to the observation panels embedded in the walls. Outside, sleek black ships emerged from the clouds, descending rapidly toward the glacier. Their weapons glowed with lethal energy. Talon flapped his wings in alarm. "They are fast. Too fast for conventional defenses." Ilara clenched her teeth. "Then we fight smart. We don't just defend the core, we protect the galaxy." Aaron raised his hand. Energy surged through the room, connecting the core to the stasis pods. The newly awakened humans extended their hands, sending streams of light through the chamber's walls. Energy flowed outward, forming barriers around the entrance tunnels. Dr. Haynes' sensors tracked the VAR ships. "They cannot penetrate the energy field easily. It's disrupting their weapon systems," Kirok hissed. "It's like the planet itself is fighting for us." Aaron nodded. "It is. The Genesis core does not belong to one species. It defends life, not domination, and life begins with humans." Ilara watched as the barriers held, but she knew this was only a temporary advantage. The VAR Dominion would not give up. They would find a way to reach the core unless humanity acted decisively. The plan Ilara gathered her crew and the awakened humans. "We can't just wait," she said. "We have to take the fight to them. If they reach the core, everything will be lost." Aaron stepped forward. "There is a network of ancient installations across the galaxy, the First Flame's legacy. They were meant to awaken in times of crisis. If we can activate them, the galaxy itself will defend life." Dr. Haynes analyzed the data. "Commander, it is possible. The network is dormant but connected through the core. Activating it could create defensive shields and energy pulses that will stop the VAR fleet." Ilara looked at the humans. "Then that is what we do. We wake the First Legacy. We remind the galaxy who we are, and why we exist." The stasis humans nodded, their eyes glowing with ancient knowledge. "It is time," Aaron said. "Time for the first humans to fulfill their promise once again." The activation. The chamber became a hive of activity. Energy streams pulsed between the core, the stasis pods, and the control consoles embedded in the walls. Ilara worked alongside the first humans, following instructions in a language both strange and familiar. As they activated the network, waves of light shot into the tunnels, down through the planet and outward into space. Satellites, ancient stations, and hidden devices across the galaxy lit up in response. Dr. Haynes' voice echoed with excitement. "Commander, the network is responding. It's alive again." Outside, the VAR fleet was caught in a storm of energy. Shields sparked, weapons failed, and ships began to drift uncontrollably. The galaxy itself seemed to rise against the intruders. Kirok hissed in wonder. "I've never seen anything like this. It's incredible." Aaron placed a hand on the core, his voice calm and commanding. "The First Legacy is awake. Life is defended." Ilara stood beside him, feeling the power hum through her veins. "We did it. We really did it." A message across the stars. Once the network was fully active, a holographic message shot into space. Every corner of the galaxy received it. Humans were the first. Humans were the creators of the stars. Humans were the protectors of life. The message spread quickly, reaching the Alliance, independent civilizations, and even distant systems where ancient legends of the first flame persisted. Many species were shocked. Some were skeptical, but all felt a shift, a reminder that life, creation, and courage could not be controlled by one race alone. Aaron turned to Ilara. The galaxy will remember now, but our work is not finished. This awakening is only the beginning. Ilara nodded, her eyes shining with determination. Then we keep going. We protect the core, awaken more of our legacy, and ensure the VAR never threaten life again. The legacy lives on. The Genesis core glowed brighter than ever, casting light across the frozen chamber. The stasis humans, now fully awake, moved with purpose, teaching, guiding, and activating other ancient devices hidden beneath the planet's surface. Ilara watched as the network stretched across the galaxy, lights and energy streams connecting worlds, awakening allies, and defending life. She realized the truth that had eluded humanity for millennia. Being the first was not just about history, it was about responsibility. The VAR Dominion, defeated for now, retreated into the shadows. They would return, but the galaxy was no longer defenseless. Aaron placed a hand on Ilara's shoulder. You have the courage of the first humans. Remember, Commander, creation is a gift and life is its greatest treasure. Ilara smiled. Then we will protect it together. Humans were the first, and now, they will guide the future. As the lights of the Genesis core reflected in her eyes, Ilara knew the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity's story was no longer hidden in myths or buried beneath ice. It was alive, powerful, and ready to shine across the stars, and this was only the beginning. The icy cavern beneath Antarctica was alive with energy. Streams of blue and silver light flowed from the Genesis core, stretching like ribbons across the chamber. Commander Ilara Voss stood near the edge of the platform, her eyes fixed on the glowing sphere at the center. Around her, the stasis humans, or the first humans, had fully awakened. Their presence brought a sense of calm authority and purpose that filled the chamber. Outside, the frozen landscape was silent, but the sensors aboard the Horizon's Dawn detected movement. The VAR Dominion had regrouped, bringing their fleet back to Earth's orbit. Sleek black ships armed with energy weapons glided silently above the glacier, waiting for a chance to strike. Aaron, the first human, raised his hand, and a pulse of energy flowed through the chamber. The core responded immediately, sending waves of light toward the tunnels leading back to the surface. The VAR will not reach the core, he said calmly. Not while we stand. Ilara glanced at him. Then we make our move. The core's network is active, but it will take time to reach all the installations across the galaxy. Aaron nodded. Time is what they want. They believe they can wait. But the first legacy awakens now, with us guiding it. The battle begins outside. The VAR ships began to attack. Beams of energy lit the night sky, striking the ice with sharp, destructive precision. The surface cracked under the force, sending plumes of snow and rock into the air. Talon flapped his wings, scanning the skies. They are too many, Commander. Their fleet is larger than we expected. Kirok hissed. We need a plan or they'll destroy the core before it finishes connecting to the network. Ilara took a deep breath. Then we give them a reason to fear us. She stepped forward, placing her hand on the Genesis core. A shock of energy surged through her, filling her mind with knowledge, images of distant worlds, of ancient human colonies, and of the energy flowing across the galaxy. The core responded to her will. Now, she shouted. A wave of light shot from the core, extending into the tunnels, the surface, and upward into the sky. It struck the VAR fleet like a river of fire, not killing them but disabling their weapons and engines. Ships spun out of control, their energy shields failing. The Dominion forces could do nothing against the combined power of the core and the awakened humans. Dr. Haynes' voice was filled with excitement. Commander, the network is fully responding. Every installation across the galaxy is activating. The VAR fleet cannot withstand it. Kirok hissed, impressed. The galaxy itself is fighting for us. The first humans lead. Within the chamber, the first humans moved gracefully, guiding energy streams through the core's interface. Their gestures controlled the flow of power, sending pulses into space that extended the core's reach. Aaron spoke to them calmly. Remember, we are protectors. We do not destroy life. We restore balance. One of the stasis humans, a tall woman with glowing eyes, raised her hand toward the core. The energy intensified, spreading in a dome that encompassed Earth and the VAR fleet. Their weapons fizzled, engines stopped, and the ships hovered helplessly. Alara watched in awe. Humanity, the first humans, had not just survived. They had returned to protect life. "This is incredible," she whispered. The legends. They were true. Aaron looked at her. Truth is not only in stories, it is in action. And now humanity acts again. Turning the tide, the VAR Dominion, realizing their weapons were useless, attempted a direct assault on the glacier. Their soldiers began descending in armored pods, trying to breach the tunnels. Ilara's crew moved quickly, joining the first humans. Kirok and Talon directed energy flows along the passageways, creating barriers and traps that slowed the attackers. Dr. Hayne monitored the core, ensuring its energy remained steady and connected to the network. Outside, massive beams of light arced from the core, striking the descending VAR troops and immobilizing them without causing permanent harm. The Dominion had never faced a force like this, energy controlled not by machines, but by the first humans themselves. Ilara fought alongside Aaron and the others, using her courage and skill to guide the energy. Her commands synchronized perfectly with the core, her determination amplifying its power. She felt the weight of her species' legacy, the responsibility of being human, and the privilege of protecting life. The first legacy is awake. Aaron shouted, "The galaxy remembers!" A message to the universe as the VAR Dominion faltered. The Genesis core sent a final pulse into space, a holographic message that reached every civilization in the galaxy. It spoke of the first humans, the creators of life, and their purpose, to protect and nurture, not to dominate. Ilara watched as stars far away lit up in response. Ships of other civilizations detected the pulse and understood its meaning. Fear, awe, and respect spread throughout the galaxy. Even distant species who had never met humans felt a connection, as if the core itself was reminding all life of their shared origin. Dr. Haynes' voice was calm, yet filled with awe. "Commander, this is more than discovery. This is a declaration. Humanity is recognized as the first." Ilara nodded, her heart pounding. "And we'll make sure it stays that way." The VAR retreat defeated and powerless, the VAR fleet began retreating. Their leaders, realizing the full scope of the core's power, had no choice but to flee. Kirok hissed in relief. "They'll return. They always do." Aaron placed a hand on Ilara's shoulder. "Yes, but they will never win as long as the core is awake and humanity guides it." Ilara looked around at the awakened humans. They had returned not for conquest, but for protection. She felt a deep connection with them, the first humans who had shaped the stars, and she, the descendant, carrying their courage forward. A new beginning, with the VAR retreating and the core stabilized, the chamber grew quiet once more. The first humans gathered around Ilara. "You have done well, Commander," Aaron said. "You acted with courage, wisdom, and respect for life. You are a true human, as we were and as we hoped humanity would become." Ilara bowed her head slightly. "I only followed the path laid before me." Aaron smiled. "No, you created the path. The first legacy was dormant, waiting for those who could lead. And now you have awakened it." The Genesis core pulsed gently, its energy flowing across the galaxy. The stasis humans began teaching the crew, showing them how to maintain the core, activate other installations, and protect life across the stars. Ilara realized that humanity was no longer a small young species among countless others. They were the first, not rulers but guardians. And with this awakening, a new chapter of the galaxy was beginning. A final promise, as the light of the Genesis core spread across the chamber. Ilara looked at the humans around her, both the awakened first humans and her own crew. She felt a sense of pride and responsibility that went beyond words. "We have a duty now," she said softly, "not just to ourselves but to every being in the galaxy. We protect life, preserve balance, and remember who we are." Aaron's eyes glowed faintly. "Yes, humanity was the first, but it is also the spark. It is your courage, your choices that will guide the future." Outside, the stars seemed to shine brighter. Energy from the Genesis core spread across the galaxy, a living web connecting worlds, awakening hope, and reminding every civilization that life was precious. Ilara knew this was just the beginning. There would be challenges, enemies, and threats. But humanity had awakened the first legacy, and with it, a promise that the galaxy would be protected for all time. And somewhere deep within her heart, she understood a simple truth. The first humans had returned not to rule, but to light the way. The stars of the galaxy would never forget.